Sure.
Would you like to say a few words first, Senator?
I'll let the gentleman finish doing that.
Okay.
Well, let
We
me.
should get a picture with the kids too. But
Sure.
Yeah.
Alina, Andrea, Andrew. Okay, he's all set.
Let me, first of all, thank you for having me here. And let me also say that my, whatever I've done for the people of Lithuania and to fight for freedom for the people of the captive nations and those in the Baltics is very little in comparison to the heroism that the people lived and continue to live in their desire for freedom. The ordinary citizen of Lithuania is the real hero. The ordinary citizen in the captive nations who for so many years have lived in a state of oppression, they are the true heroes, particularly when so many were willing to turn the other way. And even as we speak now, we have many, including people in the Congress and in other governments, who would have us believe that all is well. Well, now, while we have come a long way, and I remember the early days, I remember when Jonas and I traveled to Lithuania, and I remember the media mocking my attempt to gain access to Lithuania. We knew that the chances were small, if none, that we would gain admission to Lithuania. We told that to the foreign minister who accompanied us from Poland to the border. We told that to President Landsbergis. But he thought that it was so important that we try to show the free world what was taking place and how the borders were closed down and how people were being denied access. And that is why we went, to demonstrate that basic freedom was being curtailed. I remember those days when President Landsbergis was scorned and mocked by the media. And I would tell you that I think that one of the great problems we have in today's society comes about by the so-called intellectual media elite. They always know, you see. They question and denigrated the people who wanted nothing more than freedom. They would say, why are they doing this? What's the matter with them? They should just wait a while. Don't worry, things will come. Let them wait. They didn't care. They have their freedom here in this country. And so what did they care? That millions who have been denied basic human rights would continue to be enslaved, continue to be deprived of their rights. And even as we speak, notwithstanding that great progress has been made, you and I know that the story is still one of an oppressive force, 140,000 troops from Russia, troops from what used to be the Soviet Union, still in the Baltic nations, still in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. And I want you to know that I supported a resolution in the Congress, an amendment that said that upon a condition that must be met for the Russians to get aid, that they had to start the withdrawal of troops and show a program and a plan for them to come out. Somehow the media has conveniently forgotten. If a country is sovereign, then they have a right to say foreign troops are out of our country without our express invitation. That's an internationally recognized rule. Why is it that it's so difficult to have the rules applied to the Baltics? Why is it that the entire world community found it so difficult to recognize the people's rights for freedom? Why was it that they suppressed what was taking place, the killing of people, the attacks, the blackguard that I saw? Why is it that they found it so difficult that the people who wanted nothing more than freedom were branded as radical, and Landsbergis was called the crazy musicologist? Do you remember that? Yes. Remember that? They denigrated him. Said, oh, he doesn't know. And when the communist leader came over, oh, they hailed her. Oh, she was wonderful. She was the voice of reason. Landsbergis wasn't, because he said, we want freedom. Can you imagine, in this country that holds itself out, that has been the haven to so many, how quickly those who have their freedom can forget other people and look the other way? And by the way, that's what the world community, and I spoke to our friends in the Croatian community, that's what the world community is doing today in what used to be Yugoslavia. It is looking the other way. And I want to tell you something, it's disgraceful. It's wrong. It absolutely is absolutely wrong. And the UN and us, we shouldn't be applauded for what they did at the UN to say they're going to see that some convoys get through and some relief. What kind of nonsense is that? that they're going to get some medical relief and some food to people, while people have been, millions have been made refugees, thousands have been killed for nothing more than their religion and their ethnic background. People have been made homeless. Youngsters are being made target practice. Prison camps are being operated. Prison camps. Civilians are being imprisoned. I never heard of something. And the UN says, ha, we did a, now we're going to see there's some food. That's nonsense. Now we got to be ashamed of ourselves. And so as it relates to Lithuania, our job is not done. And we must be vigilant. And we have to press and continue to fight to see to it that those Soviet troops are taken out of there. Now let me tell you, they are rotated. They only serve 2 years. 40% of those troops turn over every 2 years. So when they say that they don't have any place to bring them, again, that's nonsense. These troops don't join the Soviet army or the Russian army because they like it. They're conscripted. They're forced to serve. And so at the end of their 2-year period, they go home. Instead of introducing troops to take their place, they should be rotated out. And so once they leave, nobody else comes in to take their place. So we provided a formula by which they should do it. And I have to tell you that reluctantly, we went along, and because we had Democrats and Republicans, Senator DeConcini and I supported this amendment that said you don't get aid unless you get these troops out. And our amendment was ordered down by the leadership, by the Democrats and the Republicans together, to be something less than that. But I have to tell you, when it doesn't go into effect for a year, I'm going to be back there next year. Some people aren't too happy that I'm going to be back, but I am. And I tell you this, I don't care what administration is in, but I will tie up any aid bill designed to give continued aid to the Russians until and unless they bring those troops out. That's a promise. And, you know, and I will keep it. So I've talked too long, but I thought I'd share some of those thoughts with you. And if you have some questions.
Senator, the senator helped us, mum labai padėjo, kada buvo Gorbačiovas Vašingtone per ekonomijos summit. Ir įsivedė rezoliuciją, kur sustabdė, kad Sovietai gautų MFN, Most Favored Nation trade status. So the senator has been fighting for us for a long time, and that was a very key resolution that stopped Mr. Gorbachev from gaining MFN, Most Favored Nation trade status, and actually kept him from going back up in terms of publicity and world attention. Jeigu kas turite klausimus, prašau.
Senator, these people here represent all of the Lithuanian press. We have Draugas, which is a daily publication, daily newspaper. We have Dirva from Cleveland, a correspondent. We have Darbininkas correspondent from your native New York.
Good.
All right.
Who's that representative? Huh? Where is he?
Mr. Bagdonas.
You got a lot of good things down there, so you can send home to New York? Huh? Good.
And we also have Mr. Deveikis, who represents the Lithuanian Scout Association. So please, if anyone has any questions. Mr. Bojis, you have a question?
Mr. Senator, we know that in your person we have a friend of Lithuanian causes, but does Mr. Bush have really clear opinion regarding the Lithuanian causes, especially regarding that the Russian troops are still in Lithuania?
I don't think that most of the world community and the Congress, Democrats and Republicans, have a real understanding or feeling and are passionate in their belief that people have a right to determine their own destiny. They don't feel committed enough. Now, I am not saying they means Mr. Bush. I'm saying all in government There are too few. There are only a few. And maybe it takes being an ethnic. Maybe it takes understanding what it is to be oppressed. Maybe it takes seeing a father struggle to keep his family and yet loving this country for the freedom and the opportunity that it has given. And I'm very blessed in that. And I am blessed in having a family that said to me, and my father in particular, never be afraid to stand up for what's right, even if everybody mocks you and scorns you. And you remember when I went to Lithuania, I took a big beating. Tremendous. Tremendous. But I knew what I was doing was right. It was standing up for people that were oppressed. And my colleagues in the Congress and the administration look the other way. They don't want to rock the boat. So they don't want to rock the boat now, and it's an easy thing. They say, well, you know, the troops are there. And after all, Yeltsin, who stands for democracy, if we pull the rug out from under him, if we insist on the troops coming out. That's nonsense. I don't believe it. Before that, I heard the Gorby, oh, what a wonderful man. And when I said Gorby mania is sweeping your senses away, and he doesn't stand for democracy, he stands for his own power. You shouldn't go kissing him. But you see what happens, it's easy to fall into this trap of saying, oh, don't make it tough for Yeltsin, and that's what you have. So you have a whole Congress, plus the administration, plus Western Europe, saying it's, oh, he's very fragile. If you don't set conditions so that everyone, you strengthen Yeltsin's hand, you strengthen it. If you say, you got to get those troops out. Now, if you said take all of them out overnight, you could say that's unrealistic. But I suggested a plan that is very realistic. And if indeed 40% of those troops are rotated every 2 years, then that means you can set a schedule by which you begin to reduce them very dramatically over a period of time, and we'll have them out. I think people understand that. That's reasonable. At least get them. They refuse to really bargain. And I spoke to the ambassadors from the various nations there, and they told me, Senator, the Russians are not even bargaining with us in good faith. Indeed, some of their generals were making very provocative statements like, we're here, and nobody's going to tell us to leave, and we're going to do what we want. It's wrong. It is simply unacceptable. So, to answer your question, it's more than this administration. It's a lesson that we haven't learned. You don't appease the oppressor. You stand up. And when you stand up, he gets the signal. And he doesn't misread you. He does not believe that he can go further. Perfect example was in the Mideast. When we didn't act with real strength early on, we allowed Saddam Hussein to believe he could do whatever he wanted. Now let me tell you, I share a little story with you. I was a journalist. The Congress that now says, let's see whether or not what was going on there, they were to blame also. Because in May of 1990, I offered a resolution to cut off aid to Saddam Hussein and to the Iraqis. Did you know that? And I said, why are we giving them loan guarantees? Oh, you should have heard what happened. You would have thought that I was attacking Mother Teresa. Everybody came to the Senate floor. Democrats, Republicans, we shouldn't do it. Why? They knew that he was using poison gas to kill innocent women and children. Why should we be subsidizing him? And so because we didn't have the courage to stand then, we emboldened him. Now I hear they say, oh, let's investigate the administration. They all should be ashamed. My colleagues in the Congress, Democrats and Republicans, when they came down to oppose cutting off of financial assistance, loan guarantees that we were given to Saddam Hussein. You didn't know we were giving him loan guarantees? No. Most people didn't. But I went to the floor of the Senate in May of 1990 and said, stop giving him loan guarantees while he's killing people. What I'm saying basically is you've got to have one standard. You cannot deal with dictators and killers as if they're some kind of benevolence and allow them, because you are then in effect saying, go ahead and continue your business. So it's too easy to say, Bush, It's the whole group have got to stand up for people. The UN, what they're doing now is making a mockery of what they should be doing. Absolute criminal. And then I hear, well, what about Somalia? It doesn't make what's going on there right. We should see to it that the food gets to the starving people there. We should protect those ports. We should create an oasis. And it doesn't mean we're a safe haven where people can come and be fed. And I have to tell you, I'll leave you with one other thought. We don't do something in Bosnia, and you allow, and I say you, that's the world community, allows the Muslims to continue to be purged and killed and driven from their homes. And you are going to see an Islamic jihad in other areas of the world. And it will not be right. We have a chance to stand up and to do what's right and to protect the innocent people there. And we should do it because it's the right thing to do. But also understand that if you are Muslim, and the Muslim fundamentalists throughout the world are watching what's going on there, and they're going to be saying, why is it that the UN doesn't act and stop the slaughter of innocent men, women, and children? So I just tell you, and I know that I know you have to feel that way. I know, because when you see and have lived in the history of having our people oppressed, because they were Catholic or because they were Lithuanian and couldn't practice one's religion and had to, that you have got to share that sense of foreboding for what is taking place. A terrible thing, what's taking place in what used to be Yugoslavia and Bosnia, Herzegovina right now. And if we don't stop it, and this business about we don't need another Vietnam, no one says you need a Vietnam, but we have a lot of power that we could exercise to try to help these people. I met a young man who just, I got him released from one of the prison camps, and I can tell you, he told me he witnessed the most horrible tortures, the beatings, the killings of people, the things that they have done to the prisoners, sexual, and the manner in which they have forced the prisoners to do it to each other. This is a 21-year-old boy, Croatian, who went there to help his people, and he was captured and imprisoned for 5 months. I don't know if he'll ever be the same. I don't know whether he's ever going to really recover from what he saw and what they did to him and what they made him do to others. Inhumane, unspeakable, I cannot even tell you. I just couldn't tell you the kinds of things they made him do. So,
Senator, maybe you could tell them a few of the details of the Russian aid bill and how some of that debate went on the Russian aid.
well, let me answer that question.
Senator D'Amato, personally, thank you for helping Lithuania's cause. And you mentioned earlier that you teamed up with Senator D'Amato, who I also met. And that was a D'Amato bill that was watered down and became the Pell-Luger bill.
Yep.
And that passed.
Yeah, eventually.
And that bill is going to look at the truth situation in a year.
Yeah.
And if there's no significant progress, they would cut off the foreign aid.
That's